big, never in the sunken place. Pop off for the home team, always, always. I wanna build a conclave for the black babies in the hallway. Tell them dream big, go the long way. Cause the word is yours like when I say. Cause they don't tell you it could be like this. But this squad only come with the hits. Times get tough and keep your wits. Can't let no evil touch these lips. We don't take no defeat like this. Who you know with the heat like this? Who you know with they feet like this? Say we like this. Cause we blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map. We gotta keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back, I like my hair like that, touch it and get smacked. We got the map, we gotta keep it on track. Running ahead and I'm yelling Geronimo. All of my power come right out my follicles. I got it online like my hair be. They scared of we, beware of we. Who you know go and turn nothing to something. We steady thriving, they thought we was crumbling. All around the world, our music bumping. That's humbling to see. We don't succumb to defeat, even with crumbs at our feet. We making waves in the streets, we made a way in the streets. All of my people gon' eat. We on the way to the fees while bumping this heat and patting these twists on beat. Move too slick, no grease. Push through, make it look easy. Cause we blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map. We gotta keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map. We gotta keep it on track.
We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map. We got to keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map, we gotta keep it on track, yeah. We black and we proud. Go tell your sons and your daughters to stand tall and always remind them of who they are. The sky's the limit and none of that can change when God is in it. Often imitating, never duplicating melanin. Take a look at the world, man, we always in. Woo! I'm black and I'm proud. I used to say my hair was so nappy. Now I embrace the beauty that flows out of me. From the top of my head to the sole of my feet. And you know you can't check me. You like my hair straight, I said take that to Becky. That's a wrap for this verse. Cause we blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map, yeah, we gotta keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map, yeah, we gotta keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map, yeah, we gotta keep it on track. We blackity black. Please step back. I like my hair like that. Touch it and get smacked. We got the map, yeah, we gotta keep it on track, yeah.
Who got that range? Who brought them chains? Went through the maze. Came out the end into some brighter days. Getting win after win, they thought it was a phase, but now it ain't a phase. Leave them in the days. This ain't for play. This has been away. This is for the days when you thought she wasn't gonna make it. But look, ma, we made it. We won it, we take it. We stay on this ground, and this ground don't get shaky. We shape of the babies, don't never get flaky. Don't mind if you hate me, can't nobody take me. Maybe I shouldn't be so blatant, but blatantly, who care about what you say to me patiently? We've been moving up the ladder so faithfully. We've been pushing through disasters so frequently. Sweet like roses, we stand tall with this. Free like Moses, act like you know this. Sweet like roses, we stand tall with this. Free like Moses, act like you know this. Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Black, 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 black.
Yeah.
Black, black,
Black,
black, black.
black, black,
Black, black,
black,
black, black.
black, black.
Yo. Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's super early. It's super. Well, for me, it's super early, but that's what has to happen when your man's from Japan is joining you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Japan. What time is it over there, dog? Like what, 10 o'clock at night?
It is actually 10 on the dot.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm a firm believer in the fact that this is way too early to be awake. But I think that we're about to have a dope conversation, so it was necessary. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you so
Oh,
much.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm gonna open us up in some prayer, and we're just gonna jump into this conversation that we've been having all week about Black History Month. God, we just thank you for this time to have some conversation, sharing some perspective, learn a thing or two from each other. Maybe get some insight from the people that are engaging with us in the comments. We just appreciate this time. We know that it's going to be a great time. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, so Black History Month. What does it mean to you, dog? Like that was one of the questions that we were talking about the other day in our other conversation. And we're all black, but everybody, well, not we're all black, we're all people, whatever. You know, there's black, there's people. We all have our own feelings about it, and but as black people, I feel like the general consensus from the outside is they all feel the same way, pretty much about everything, right? Like we even all look the same, but the truth is we don't feel the same about everything, you know. So, what are your thoughts on Black History Month?
I mean, I think it's a what is it? A reform in a sense. Like it is a concession. It's a concession, you know. Like because um, if people were, here's the thing. How do you think? Asada Shakur has this quote where she says, you know, uh, the oppressing class would never give you the education you need to overthrow them, right? I mean, which is I feel is sort of applies to the way we the way Black History Month is taught, and its value in our society right now. You know, like it's an appeasement. You know, because who is the big face of Black History Month? Martin Luther King, right? And Martin Luther King uh, was a hero. Don't get me wrong, but they always glom onto his one speech, you know, and then that's it. You
I
know,
had a
like
dream.
yeah, yeah. But they don't never mention his other speeches, like the letters from the Montgomery jail, or you know, when he specifically said that I fear integration. We are integrating into a burning house. You know, like they never mention stuff like that. You know, they want you to they want you to take what they give you and be happy with that. You know, it was really insidious is fucking I don't know how people feel about Obama, but I don't like Obama. But
People
Obama
love him,
thinks
but you're
yeah.
allowed to not like him.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
hate I mean Obama put out on Twitter, he said this thing he's like I am basically he boiled it down to he is Martin Luther King's dream. I'm like,
yeah, it's an
okay.
interesting statement.
It is, right? I mean, to not even to bring up the shit that Obama has done, dude, but Libya. You know, that was that was him. Anyways, um,
It's like, whoop.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
So you don't like Black History Month, or not so much don't like it, just feel like it's kind of like what they did with Black Lives Matter, where it was like something to shut
yes,
Black people up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is the neoliberal approach to pacification, sort of.
Mm. It's so funny, dude. The other day on the conversation, Terrell, he said, "We like to museumify." It, you know, made up word, but it was like exactly what you're saying right now. It's like the heroes that they do teach about, they don't kind of show you the not even aggressive side of them, just the less passive side of them. And it's like
Mm,
we can't have too many of these people thinking revolutionary, and like
right.
that's yeah, you know.
Yeah. It is. It's sort of what they call a great man theory.
You said the
Um,
great what?
great man theory.
Okay.
um that's a little harder to get into, but basically like there's this idea that great individuals cause things to happen, and that's not too far from the truth, but great individuals need um like lots of people behind them, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like, or I say lots of people, but ain't no one person getting shit done, you know what I'm saying?
Correct. At all.
Like mhm.
It's like you
Like
need a team.
right, and then the thing is Martin Luther King was big in the churches, you know what I'm saying? So like um and that's where a lot of his base came from. Um, so that's it's kind of it's not unfounded, but it's a how you say it? Yeah, an individual can get the ball rolling, but it's like,
It's going to
it
take a
needs to,
lot more than that one person to keep it moving, to keep that steam. Yeah,
yeah.
and I feel that, and I feel like one of the things that it's not it, but one of the things that has happened with um, the assassination and murder of so many black heroes, black leaders, um, the people that were behind them just kind of, I don't want to say stopped, but kind of lost that steam. And I feel like it's kind of led to a degradation of black movements, right? And
Well,
but
I mean, no, that's kind of, I mean, yeah, true to a point, but you also got to consider COINTELPRO and the massive amounts of violence, and then like just the massive amount of like political prisoners that are still in jail to this day. I think it was like Jalil something. Some Black Panthers are just getting out like in the last like 6 months.
so you think that with the release of some of these people, we're going to start to see more activity?
No, because a lot of them, dude, they're old as hell now. I mean, like, shouts out to them. But like, come on now, like they're I'm not gonna say that time is over with, but like, dude, if they've been in jail for like the last 40 years, I'm pretty sure like I'm not gonna say they've had it beaten out of them, but like um if you just did 40 years in jail, do you want to do another 40? You know what I'm saying? I'm
Nah, I
pretty sure
feel
they
that, and it's
yeah.
like it brings up the question where people love to say, times have changed, things have changed. So if they have changed, you would think that these people would be more. They'd look at the landscape that we're in right now and say, "Oh, okay, it's a lot different than when I went in, where it makes it easier for us to really get this across." Like, I mean, we're sitting. Look, you're in Japan right now. I'm in Virginia. We're having a
Yeah.
conversation right now of the technology that exists today that didn't exist for them.
Right.
You think that that
Um,
would play a role?
I mean, to a point. What is it? It's like the leaflets or whatever, it's saying like the newspapers back in the day, that or the underground newspapers that they would put out to help spread the word, what I'm saying, spread agitation, educate people. I mean, and I think that's a valid way to in today's world, that's probably a valid way to spread ideas. I mean, of course there can be what is it, there's a quote I just read, misinformation or a lie can cross the world twice in the time that the truth takes to put on its pants.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's two sides to the coin, but like critical thinking will um help you help out a lot. But the thing is, like, I think critical thinking in America has kind of been shot in the foot a lot. you know
Shot in the face.
Shot in the face. Yeah.
Shot in the
Yeah.
face. Um,
Yeah.
so that kind of leads me to the next question that I want to ask about Black History Month, right? Because I've seen such a hate for it from people of all races, cultures, backgrounds, but especially from white people, right? And usually the reasons that white people are hating Black History Month aren't necessarily the reasons that some Black people are maybe disappointed with Black History Month and what it is, right? And so, like the other day, I seen people saying like, "Well, if there was such a thing as White History Month, that would be racist." Like, and then then they roll into the whole, we don't have white entertainment television, and we don't have white only colleges and things like that. And as they're saying these things, they like the critical thinking isn't there, because it's like you didn't need to have those things, right? Like that's why you don't have those things. Like like we needed to have those things, and so I guess critical thinking is a part of it, and maybe that's the answer to the question. But why do white people hate Black History Month? Is it just because they're not putting in the critical thinking when they think about it, or is it more to it?
I mean, I think I'll say that's like 20% of it, but I think um it's I think honestly a lot of they know more than we give them credit for. If you want to be for real, like um okay, uh like of course, like all like American history is or colonized
Correct.
history is American colonized history is white history. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, like, Um, like okay, like dude, how do you say? Okay, I'm gonna put it like this, right? Black people know everything about white people. White people don't know anything about black people. Like
I
80,
just
80
said this the other day.
yeah,
It's like we
80% of the
have
time,
to.
right? Yeah, we have to because they don't really understand their roles as the how you say the on top class. And I get there's poor white people, you know what I'm saying, and like there's white people who suffer under this system, you know what I'm saying, and that's just like because I mean
Correct.
there we live in a hierarchy, we live in a hierarchical society, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of people don't like really fully grasp it, you know what I'm saying, and they be like, well, if I had white privilege, then why did I grow up in a trailer park and with my mom smoked meth? Like, okay,
Right.
bro,
Not
that
understanding that that's not what white privilege is or isn't.
yeah, and
And
it's like I'm sorry that happened to you. I mean, granted, I never had to deal with no shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But like, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, okay, like, did you ever get refused a job because you're white? No,
so
then
would you would you say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
all right.
would you say that you feel like the reason a lot of white people hate Black History Month is more so because they think that the conversation is about race, racism, and slavery rather than what it needs to be, which is the oppression of any man. Therefore, we're all being oppressed,
Mm,
kind of thing. Like,
mm,
because
I mean,
as you're speaking, it's like the they hate it because of white privilege, which always points to the fact that we just think that you had an easier life. And it's like, no, I don't think that you had an easier life just because you're white necessarily. You know what I mean?
right,
It's
right.
like I
It always
understand.
because the thing. Okay, I actually this ties back into something else I've been thinking about is
Mhm.
that um Americans see themselves as individuals. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't
You said
matter.
America?
Americans
Okay.
think of themselves only on an individual level, on a how you say they have been atomized. You know what I'm saying? They only see themselves as one person, regardless of everything else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we live in a society, but I don't care about that society. I'm one person. I'm going to do what I need to do, right? And so I think that they don't understand the superstructure of the society that we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
there are there are like it operates in such a manner. You know what I'm saying? Like okay, you an individual, but like you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So how does that make you? Are you really an individual in this world? Obviously not. You know,
Hold on.
like
What's explain that for me? Like the being an individual not paying taxes, going to jail makes you not.
well, so like the way I could describe it, or the way I'm thinking of it is um, like okay, people think Jeff Bezos got it out the mud, right? His parents was rich and they gave him money to start Amazon, right? But they don't see that. They see him as an individual who made smart choices, don't who knows the fuck how, and
Hmm.
started Amazon, right? Like that, and that's
Oh, the great man theory.
yeah, it kind of ties back to that
Okay,
too. It
I
these
follow.
yeah, a lot of my ideas are like parallel to each
No,
other. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I feel that. So it's like
There are my
what
ideas, but yeah,
we think of ourselves as individuals to our own destruction, right? Because
yeah,
in reality, we're all connected, we're all interconnected, and if we were to recognize that they are oppressing us all, then okay, yeah, no, I follow
yeah. Yeah.
that.
And I mean,
Sounds
there
like
is.
that Fred Hampton talk.
I mean, Fred Hampton is one of my heroes, but I mean,
I kind of figured that because I saw you spaz on somebody in this. What is that? The People's Party or something that I
oh
saw you
yeah,
spaz on somebody when they were like, I think you said they was romanticizing him or something, or
yeah, dude.
whitewashing him. It's
Oh,
like, nah.
because they always say because here's the thing they do the same thing they do to MLK about his "I Have a Dream" speech. They do the same thing to Fred Hampton with his,
I
you know,
so I've never heard anything about Fred Hampton outside of
oh man,
actively going and looking for myself. Like, so
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even say that I know what you're talking about on that. It's like,
Oh man,
yeah,
there's
no,
you know, hit me up after because I can send you some links to him speaking. But
word.
dude was smart. He was only 21 too, and he was like they murdered him at 21. That's to show you how much of a threat he was. He was a fucking genius, honestly. But his big thing was education. Like you need to educate yourself. Like they had a fucking education program. What was I gonna say? Damn, I kind of lost train of thought there. But like okay,
I think we was talking about why white people hated Black History Month, and then
oh
somehow we got
yeah,
to Fred Hampton. But I'm with it.
yeah. Well, so like Fred Hampton's thing was they say he killed. They say like we're not gonna fight capitalism, black capitalism. We're gonna fight with socialism, right? And then
You can say it like
right, but because the
I
thing
think
about like
that capitalism and socialism, in theory, are both good things. But
yeah, gonna hold my thoughts on that one.
yeah,
um, but I mean, yeah. So that was his big thing, and then something about because he united like a bunch of like coalitions, right? Big thing was like he got a bunch of gangs together. You know what I'm saying? I'm simplifying it to a point, so he got a bunch of gangs together. He also got like the he got white communities together and then like Asian communities, try to bring them together, right? And I mean there's more to that. I'm skipping a lot, right?
yeah.
There's like
They showed
there
a
was
little bit in the movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but
no, I refuse.
I mean,
I refuse.
it was
I
solid.
refuse.
It was
I
solid,
mean
but
I that could be true, but I refuse.
understood.
Yeah. Um I mean, so there, I'd heard a story about him like bullying some of the YPO people to get them up to make them like fucking understand the whole thing. But that's just some shit I seen on the internet. But yeah, I mean, and uh, that was a big part of why they assassinated him. I mean, another thing was, he was organizing gangs. You know what I'm saying? Like black gangs in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like my people's from Chicago, right?
Organization
And
period is a threat to them.
yeah, yes, big time, big time. You start organizing, you will be murdered. Like you like quickly and expeditiously. So if you ever go out there organizing, be write your will. You know what I'm saying? It sounds dark, but it's the way shit operates. But yeah, so he was organizing black gangs. And that was a big part of it. Like my people are from Chicago, right? Chicago was riddled with gangs, you know what I'm saying? And then from like old gangs, you know what I'm saying? Before niggas say Crips and the Bloods was the first ones, but that's Cali shit. Anyways, sorry if I offend any Californians listening. Not really. Um, and yeah, man, Chicago gang like Black P Stones. What else, man? Black Gorilla Family. But anyways, they was he was getting them together, and then maybe they wasn't on board at first, but but he was spreading the education to them. So that was a big part of it because they just couldn't have that shit. There's like, and then CPD, Chicago PD is. Actually, I'm gonna hold my mule because I don't want them to come looking for me.
Man, you
Yeah.
can be straight. So, what are some of the things that you maybe like didn't learn about Black History Month in school that you've learned in the latter years of your life, right? Like I know that there's one of the things that
Man.
I've recognized is, and it's not so much about different people. Like, yes, I've learned it from hearing and listening to different people and learning about different people, but it's more so the common theme for me of revolution, right? Like, and that's one
Mm,
of the things that I've learned. And it's not so much a Black History Month thing, but that's what I've learned more of as I've dug deeper into Black history. You know,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta think like, okay. Book recommendation, real quick. Have you read "Wretched of the Earth" by France Fanon?
no, sir, I haven't. I'm not even sure what you said, so I know I didn't read it.
Oh no, "Wretched of the Earth"
Wretched of the
by
Earth copy.
yeah, yeah. I highly recommend it. I'm like halfway through it. It goes in depth, but the thing is like, if you subject, it's basically like if you subject the people to violence, like nonstop violence, at a point to the point where you don't see them as people, then at a point they will commit violence back in order to how you say to reclaim their humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
So yeah, so at a point you gotta think like black people were enslaved, right? There's another thing too. We don't get taught because we don't get taught how bad slavery was. You know what I'm saying? Because as bad as we
Slavery
think
was
it is,
fun the way they taught it. It was like a
yeah, yeah,
vacation from like it was
right,
like we just picked you up from Africa and brought you
right,
here to work for fun. Like
yeah,
literally, and when I tell people that that's the way I was taught, that good old Virginia education don't be playing.
not at all, dude, not at
Yeah,
all.
but go
They're
ahead.
like,
I'm sorry to interrupt your thought.
nah, you good. I mean, yeah, then they're like, oh, we saved you from the huts, from the mud huts and the mosquitoes. Like, shut the fuck up. Anyways, but yeah, so they never tell you like the Civil War was the Civil War was I forget exactly what, but the Civil War was also like aided along by enslaved black folks. You know what I'm saying? Like they was they was like, okay, y'all fighting, we're gonna kill all the slave owners and fucking cut the fuck out. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna, use violence to reclaim their humanity. That's something that kind of stuck with me when I was reading that.
The wretched of the
So,
earth.
yeah, dude, it is a very very incendiary book.
Yeah, and I feel that like one of the things that I often say, and it's like kind of I guess, a longer version of that. It's like if somebody gets punched in the face at 2 o'clock every day,
Yeah,
how long before they stay like, yo, you're not about to punch me in the face anymore. Like
yeah,
I've taken it and I've taken it with the hope and
yeah,
belief that you would change and you would stop, but you
yeah,
haven't. So what do you
yeah,
expect me to do? Just keep taking it? And then I think it's so
exactly right.
interesting that we see that like as these people stand up and fight back, they're called thugs and criminals and rude and disrespectful and
Yeah,
disobedient. And then these same people during Black History Month would love to post their "I Had a Dream" pictures of Martin Luther King, and it's like,
yeah.
bro, the fact that you think that
You
what's
would have hated Black
happening now,
Martin.
exactly and that's
Yeah,
it. Like the way you're acting right now tells me very much how you would have acted then. So don't sit here and try to
yeah,
quote this man. You sound ridiculous. And
yeah,
I think that that's what's missing from Black History Month. The fact that not as much as we think change has changed.
yeah.
Or at
Oh
least
yeah,
from
if
the
nothing,
education of it in schools.
yeah,
So
if
yeah,
nothing changes, nothing's changed. you know.
facts. You know,
Yeah,
it's a really interesting thing, man. Like
yeah.
learning
I
so
mean,
much over time. But have
yeah. No, no, you're good, but yeah, man. Like, once you like start digging into shit, I call it a rabbit hole, dude. Like,
it
I'm
is.
going, I'm going like deep down into it, dog. Like, because once you start figuring out, okay, they're telling half truths about Martin Luther King, or they're telling like non-truths about Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't even get me started on Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a legend, dude. Malcolm X had it on fucking point. Anyways, but yeah, dude. Once you start digging, man, like, okay, they don't teach you about nothing in Africa at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like,
know exactly what you're saying. It's like,
like nothing, bro. They don't do like, bro. I had first off, I had, like, okay,
because you're from the 757, right?
yeah, 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 I'm from Newport
Okay,
News.
so yeah, we got like the same education.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was, yeah, I don't think I
cool.
learned a single thing about Africa. A
Nothing, bro.
single
Like,
thing.
where is that? Like, where is Africa on the map?
Yeah, like a
Where's the
single
Congo?
thing.
Like, right? And then, bro, I took an ancestry test, and because okay, for example, right? Where did they get most? Where did they get the enslaved people from? But you would never know, right? But they mostly come from West Africa. You know what I'm saying? So the majority of us is Nigerian. Um, I'm gonna say Nigerian, but the rest of the West African coast too. I can't think of the names right now. I want to say Nigeria, Ghana, um, such and such, such and such. But man, yeah, like we don't hear shit about Africa. We don't hear like nothing, right? I only knew Congo the name of that fucking movie with the fucking the ape that spoke sign language.
You talking
You
about
know,
Planet
from
of the Apes? The Dawn
no
of
no no
Planet of
no
the Apes?
no, not that one. The old movie from like I want to say like late 80s where they had like is that
Mm-hmm.
Congo? Anyways, unrelated.
Unrelated.
Right, like dude, like okay, who is Patrice Lumumba, right? Exactly. Like I had to look him up. You know, Shorty homie was he 30? 36, right? He's the leader of the Congo. He was fighting. He wanted to get a united Africa, right? And it was called. This is like part of the Pan African movement, right? Patrice Lumumba and Kwame Nkrumah. And I'm pretty sure there was like Julius Nyerere. Um, he was another head of state, right? Was coming together and trying to do like a Pan African, like an African Union, similar to the European Union today, but you know, hey, if
Yeah.
there's one thing colonizers gonna do is they're gonna colonize some ideas.
So
But yeah,
where do we where do we go with Black History Month, right? Because like we've kind of established,
I
and
mean,
you know, one of the things that came out the other day was like the origins and the intention behind Black History Month, and I think that it needs to accomplish its mission. But where do we go from here for it to accomplish its mission? Which I don't know if you know this is to make it so that we don't need Black History Month and it's just integrated into history. It's still its own
mm,
thing, but it's also integrated. It's like Black history is world history, whether you're talking
right.
about in African American history or African
Well,
history, you know, whatever it is.
right. I mean, you got to think about who's teaching it. As long as the current teachers are teaching it, ain't shit gonna change. You
Do you
know.
mean like the generation, or do you mean predominantly
That's-
white teachers?
I mean, the system at play. You know what I'm saying? I
Okay,
mean, like, okay. I mean, I seen some school in Philadelphia was like doing educating niggas on Angela Davis. And I was like, oh yes, this is fucking tight. Based, if you will. But and then he was trying to snitch. The Twitter account I seen it from was trying to snitch to like the teacher union or whatever, or the government. I don't know, some shit. I just seen it and I was like, wow. And I just scrolled through the thread and I was like, this is tight as fuck. I don't know what you're complaining about. So I mean, yeah, shit like that could happen, you know what I'm saying? Where like row teachers, shouts out to them, just decide to up and do it.
but other
Um,
than that, it's going to be like a whole systematic revolutionary change that's required.
yeah. I mean, I think like it would have cause you gotta think like you seen The Wire.
No, I haven't actually. A lot of people tell me that I should. I haven't.
I mean, you should. The Wire is actually like really good for like showing the systemic events, not events, but the
It's yeah,
systemic.
I feel you. Like the
Oh,
systemic nature of the system that we're a part. Yeah, like
yeah,
the oppressive nature of the system. Yeah, I see
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Quick question. So one of our Twitch viewers, Shouting Tom, asked a question that you would have answer to. I'm just recently getting into history and all that. He said, "Are there any good podcasts on history of pre-colonial Africa? Are you aware of any that you could
Oh
recommend?" He
man.
said that's where he does most of his learning these
Um.
days.
Well, I would say I think I haven't listened to it yet, but I got recommended Bands of Turtle Island. Let me pull it up right quick.
Bands of Turtle Island.
Yeah. I haven't listened to them yet, but they're mostly about diaspora and decolonization, and I haven't listened to them yet because like I'm listening to this other podcast, like I'm reading this book and I'm listening to a podcast on it at the same time because
The
I'm just
Wretched
like
of the Earth.
yeah. Um, so I would check them out. Let me see what else I got on here. Um, Rev Left is actually pretty cool. They went over Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but another book I highly recommend. Um, 'Cause George Jackson was a political prisoner. He was locked up from like the day he turned 18, and then he died in prison like 10 years later. He was murdered by the prison guards because he was trying to organize within the prison.
um,
Um,
Bands of Turtle Island. That's what you said, right? Like rock
I mean,
bands.
No, I'm gonna write it out.
Okay.
All right.
Message it to me on Messenger, and then I'll put it in the chat for everybody to see.
Yeah, oh, in the chat. I got you. Hold up.
No, no, in Messenger like you were doing.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
My pleasure, sir. Okay, yeah, your spelling of that was correct, Tom. And I'm gonna put it in the chat for everybody else to see. You can check it out
Yeah, I
if they
need
so
to. I
desire.
need to listen to them. I listened to the other one, Mark's Madness, but they just like basically read books, and they're. I mean, it's pretty. How you say? It's pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
they
think
they basically read and give shouts out. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you good. I was gonna say, like as we wind down, I think I want to end. That's what I was trying to figure out which question I wanted to end with, and I think that I want to end with the is it necessary and or acceptable? Like, how should we go about as far as white people celebrating and engaging Black History Month? Like, is it necessary for them to participate in Black History Month to kind of help steer away from the predominant current feeling amongst them about it, or
Mm,
like
I think it would have to be an extracurricular thing for them. You know what I'm saying?
if you
Like,
choose it?
yeah, you
Because
can't.
if you don't,
You can't
then you're not gonna. Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, you can try all you want to force an education on somebody, but in one ear, not the other. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of this. What is it? How the anti-racism book, or how not to be racist. Uh, like lectures they'll be giving at people's jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then some people like would just okay, like just check out and just sit through it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Yeah.
not the, or
Like
like power
semi
death by
tease.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, death
Like
by
okay.
PowerPoint. You know? Yeah. So I mean, some people would do that, and I get it, but like you have to like I mean, how you say agitation is a big thing because you gotta like think like once you everybody intrinsically knows like work is not fair. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
think they
you
do?
in their bones,
Okay.
in their
See,
deepest
I
darkest.
wonder often because it's like there's no way in the world that I mean, people think different things. I've owned that, but
Right.
my
I
apologies.
mean,
Continue.
you good. I mean, of course, there are like people who like do STEM and then just jump right into a job making 150K. They probably don't think about it, but anybody who's worked a shit job, you know what I'm saying, knows that they're being
Most
exploited.
jobs.
Yeah, most jobs are exploitative and shit. Like I worked at Waffle House for like a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I liked it because it was actually kind of fun. But I knew I was being exploited like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can sit there and do 7,000 an hour, right, in orders cooking, you know what I'm saying? Then and I'm only making like $10 an hour, then something
Yeah,
ain't adding up.
that's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying?
And then the
So,
argument a lot of people like to make is like, well, the owner should get all the money. He started it, and it's like, but who's
but
doing the work, dog?
what work did he do? You know,
And like I
like
get, he started it, so it's like it's an interesting argument to make. It really
I mean,
is.
well, it kind of falls flat because like if the owner had nobody to work for him and he didn't do the work himself, then how would he make money? You know?
That now, yeah, that's yeah, great man
Yeah,
theory.
yeah, right. Like you need other people.
Shout out
Like
great man theory. I'm about to look into that, man.
yeah, you should. It's well, actually I don't even it's kind of a lot. You know what I'm saying? But actually look up labor theory of value. I'm gonna send that to you.
You said labor theory of value.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that to you because like basically like okay, quick and dirty, right? If I have a fucking if I have like a piece if I have some timber over here, right, some logs, right, and them logs are just sitting there, they're not worth nothing, right? Maybe you could sell them to somebody, right, for like fucking nothing, right? But until I do something to them, until I put in some work on them, they're useless. You know what I'm saying? So basically, like until I work on this piece of wood and turn it into like say like a chair or a stool or something, right? Then it has no value. So basically, me putting work into it, me putting work onto something gives it its value, you know.
Right.
So then once you like start to realize that, once you like apply that to like everything else, you see like, okay, I'm being exploited here, I'm being exploited because that's what slavery was about really. It's about free labor. It's everything everything in this world can be shrunken down to free to labor. Like yeah, a dollar represents a dollar of labor value. It's kind of sick, but or it kind of like once you start thinking about it, you realize like, oh, this represents this much labor value. You know, like um yeah. Once you look into that one, you're like, oh.
Talk about that. Yeah. Tom said at his current job, he balances that equation by insisting that he can come and go when he wants. It's like, I dig it. You know.
Mhm.
So interesting though, as you talk about, the free labor. One of the things that I often tell people when talking about slavery, because I don't know, it's there's this constant like, oh, like I'm not gonna feel bad because you want me to feel bad about slavery, and I didn't have anything to do with slavery. And it's like, no, 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 no. That's not the thing. I don't like me personally. I don't want you to feel bad about slavery. What I want you to do is recognize the fact that they're slaving you out too. They're just calling it something different, right? And then maybe we could band together and
Yeah,
it's
I mean, yeah, actually, it ties into okay, colonialism, right? You know, okay, so I've been getting into a lot of books. A People's History of the United States. The first, like the intro, right, talks about Columbus when he came to America, right? Columbus literally genocided the native peoples. I forgot what they call it. It starts with an A. I want to say Anorak. He literally genocided them by working them to death, right? He would have the men go work off in the mines to do mining to get the gold and other minerals and shit, right? And then women would be farming, right? And the men would be off working for like 3 months and they'll come back and they'll just be like, don't talk to me, because I'm fucking working all day, right? I hate my life. Don't talk to me, right? And they would just stop having sex and then boom, they would die off, the man would die off, the woman would die off, no children would be born, you know what I'm saying? So he literally genocided the people working them to death. And this was all for free labor so somebody could make boom, you know what I'm saying, make buku dollars. And it kind of just it kind of boils down to that. Everything kind of just boils down to that to a
hmm
point.
you know, I brought this up the other day too, and I love how like as we have these conversations throughout the week, it's like there's so much diverse and different thought and different things that are being said, but there's
Yeah,
often a lot of similar themes being expressed, right? And I
yeah,
brought up the other day this conversation that I had with a woman trying to get her to be on the show, and one of the things that she said, she was like, "I don't think I'd be good for the show," but then she added some great value, right? And she was like,
yeah,
to talk. What did she put? Because I wrote it down and she said it was powerful. She said, Black history, like teaching Black history, talking about Black history, learning it, understanding it, means learning the story of racism before you can even understand Black art and Black culture and things like that. And it's so crazy because, like, out of all the things that's been said in this conversation, it's like it all kind of comes back to this. It's like what was done to Black people individually, collectively, that brings us to this point, and we're still in this fight, man.
yeah.
It's so
The fight
wild.
is it just changes. You know what I'm saying? It's like um remember the episode of Family Guy where like Peter like wants the samples. And so he puts on a mask and goes back in line for the samples. Then he puts on a wig and goes back. It's kind of like that. It's the same fucking
Yeah.
thing. It's just it just put on a different dress, put on a different hat. You know what I'm saying? Like colonialism turned into capitalism, turned into well what we got going on right now, right? With slavery never went away, right? It just became the 13th Amendment, right? Where they can like uh
They can
what is it?
enslave you as a violation of the law.
right? And then and then they would write laws for any fucking thing. Loitering, right? Loitering. Like, why aren't you working? You know what I'm saying? They could like literally just throw you in jail for not working, and then they would get free labor out of you, and then they would charge you room and board on top of your original sentence. You know what I'm saying? So you could be like, you got 3 months hard labor, right? Okay, no, whatever. I do 3 months on my head, right? Turns out you got to do another 3 months because you got to pay off your room and board, continuing out. You know what I'm saying? So it all
So
it all comes back to labor, man. It all comes back to somebody's being exploited for their labor.
so would you say that and I said earlier that I wanted to close, but I have another question after this question.
Oh yeah,
So
my
forget
bad.
that whole close. No, you're good. Would you say that what was I about to ask you? So you said it all comes back to labor. So would you say that you feel more along the lines of it comes back to labor than racism or slavery? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
to a point. I mean, like, all right, because I mean, white people were not exempt from capitalism either, right? There was, the third strike law, right? Like on the third strike, they give you life in prison, right? That was actually a thing in like the 1300s too, like vagrancy, right? Not having a job, right? First offense, they'll throw you in jail. Second offense, they'll chop off an arm. Third offense, kill you. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's sort of the same, but um, it's like white people were not exempt from the brutality of this system too. So once they figured out that, because here's the thing, they weren't gonna have it. You know what I'm saying? They weren't having it for so long, right? But then once they figured out that, they could put it on someone else and let them get some benefits, you know what I'm saying? Then
yeah.
yeah. What did Lyndon B. Johnson say? Or no, what did Chris Rock say? Ain't nothing a white man with 5 cents hate more than a nigga with a dime or something like that.
Mm. I mean, that's
So
powerful. I ain't know he said it. I'm not too into
I mean,
Chris Rock, but
I
it's
mean,
powerful.
I'm probably paraphrasing. I probably got the wrong
Yeah.
person, and I mean, I'm probably all sorts of wrong. But like, because the thing is, like, you give them, you gave somebody a little bit of power over somebody else,
Yeah.
then it kind of just fucks up the whole thing. You
For
know what I'm
me, I
saying?
kind of feel like it. I kind of feel like it all comes back to white supremacy, and I feel like underneath white supremacy is where a lot of these systems that, if not all of these systems that are oppressing people of all races and cultures and backgrounds comes from. I mean,
Yeah,
and I
I
could
mean,
be wrong, but as far as I've investigated so far, it
I mean,
all seems to
it
point back to that for me.
it's a pyramid scheme. If you really want to get into it, it's one big pyramid scheme. So I would say I don't know where white supremacy fits into it, but I want to say like, um, I mean, I don't exactly know where it fits in, but it's like, you could say like on the bottom you got black people, you know what I'm saying? And then you got other minorities, then you got poor whites, then you got um, poor whites, then you got whites who
The middle
work for
class,
middle class. I say middle class, but maybe more like whites who work for the system, who enforce the system.
the overseer.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to. I mean, George Jackson talks about it. He calls it the pig class. That's all I'm gonna say. um, and then you got, uh, the owners. No, okay, the earners. Then you got the owners. Maybe the top of the tippity top would be like bankers, the banks. Actually, no, that sounds. I'm not being anti-Semitic, but
The first thing that came to mind was not Jewish people until you said
I mean,
anti-Semitic.
to some people it is. I had to
Yeah,
think about
and that is true because
because
it's like that stereotype that's out there. So it's just like assumed that when you say this is what you mean, and
yeah,
it's a
I
wild.
mean,
But the last thing that I wanted to ask you, and this is for real, the last thing I want to ask you, at least while we're live, we can keep the conversation going afterwards. But what is it like being black in Japan? Is
Bro,
there
it's,
even
I mean,
such a
first,
thing as Black History Month?
no, I mean, probably not. I mean, I'm a little worried because my son is going to go to a Japanese school, and so is my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Um, they're not going to be educated on black issues. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's kind of fine, not fine. It definitely puts it all on me to educate them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think I have a problem with that because then it's like you
Are you
got
kind of
either
excited about educating them?
to a point. I mean, I'm probably just gonna like throw some books in their lap, and be like read it, and then go about my day, go about
Yeah.
my day. You know, right? Like I'm like okay with it. Hmm. Actually, no, I probably need to sit down and formulate that one. Actually, I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's
I
so
probably,
important. It's so crucial.
yeah. Because now that you said it, I probably should sit down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was, I wasn't thinking about it. I probably figure something out. But I mean, being black in Japan, I mean, I'm light skinned, you know what I'm saying? So I get a pass anyways. They
Yeah.
don't like some people just look at me and like don't think too hard about it
They
until like
think like
because
you're Japanese, or they just think that you're not
no,
black.
probably not black. I mean, yes, I think like if I'm masked up, you know what I'm saying? They only seeing like this much, so
Yeah.
um, they probably not thinking about it too hard. But some of them do be staring. I mean, I was just be like,
So is
okay,
there's
whatever.
like not a lot of black people out there, at least where you
Nah,
are?
I seen three. Yeah, so
Yeah. It's
yeah.
so
I
funny.
mean,
That
it's
brings up an interesting point of how, like, as black people, whenever we go to a foreign place to us, we have to identify how many black people are there. Like my wife,
right.
she's from Utah. It's a, like if I go out to Utah, I'm on the look for black people. Like, all right, there's,
Yeah,
and I'm texting my family. Right, there's another one here. Like, you know what I mean?
that's
It's
good.
so crazy. Where I feel like, I mean, and I could be wrong. I feel like maybe white people don't do that because they're just so used to seeing more of them everywhere. You know,
I
not even
mean,
just
yeah.
white people, like other people. Well, I guess not other
Yeah.
people, just white people.
Nah, like 'cause you had it the first time.
Yeah.
Because everywhere they go, like it, how many, except for a few pockets here and there, you're not gonna be around.
Yeah.
There's not gonna not be white people. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
unless you like in the hood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you in like in Chinatown or in like Little Mexico? Yeah, no, I feel that. But we're getting ready to
Yeah.
sign off. Before we do, I was wondering, sir, if you had anything that you wanted to leave the people with. We normally do a little segment called Final Thoughts, where our guests get 60 seconds to tell all
Uh,
the viewers what they want to take, what they want them to take from the episode. So you know, you can make it a point, a couple
mm,
books, podcast, whatever. Just tell the people what it is you want them to take from our conversation about Black
Um.
History Month.
Well, I mean, like I said, what I opened with, Asada Shakur said, the pressure's not going to give you the education to liberate yourself. So I would say, read some books on the subject. Read Wretched of the Earth. You know what I'm saying? Read. That's the best thing I could probably say. You know what I'm saying? And short of that, listen to podcasts on the subject. Um, um, I say I got two books. The book I'm working through right now is Wretched of the Earth, but I also have uh this one book by Kwame Nkrumah. I forgot the title. The Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare. I'm working on that. State and Revolution by Lenin. Um, and Pedagogy of the Oppressed is the other one I have, which I need to work on. I mean, I have a bunch on my phone. Look into the
Yeah. Send me all of those titles, and I'm gonna put them in the chat. Like you ain't gotta do it right now, but I can go back and put them in the chat for people who wanna. Yeah, because there's a lot, and they sound like there could be some dope books, especially if that's what you're into. You know, like
yeah. I mean, it is kind of a lot.
be careful.
I'm
The
not gonna
revolution is scary to some people.
It is. It really is. It's a scary thought. I mean, like I said, you can be killed for this shit. So I mean, I mean, COINTELPRO never went away. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure like if the people like COINTELPRO was exposed by people who broke into like the FBI headquarters. You know what I'm saying? like it never went away, and it's probably still around. You know what I'm saying? So be careful with that one.
Yeah. Well,
um,
all right, good people. So what I'm gonna do is after we cut the live, I'm gonna get the titles of those books from him, and I'm gonna put those in the comments for all of you. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us, for tuning in, engaging in the comments. Thank you, Mr. Xavier, for joining us and sharing your perspective on some of these things, talking about Black History Month. Um,
no problem,
like
man.
us, share us, all that. Get the word out. We're having some dope conversations, sessions, however you want to look at it. Tomorrow, conversation is going to continue with Dom. Uh, Next week, we're gonna be talking about the Black experience. So you get to join us for that, people. And yeah, so God, we just thank you for this time, and we pray that this reaches the places that you called it to reach. In Jesus' name, Amen. Appreciate y'all joining us. Take it easy.
All right.